is Newsfeed Now.
Hey, good Tuesday. Welcome into Newsfeed Now. Just a few days away from Valentine's Day. And look, I love having fun in our studio. That's kind of what we do. But it's also because we don't have a bird on the loose in our studio. I'll explain that in a moment. But you see some balloons here. Sometimes things just get out of our grasp. You know, these balloons are weighted down like this. There was actually a day not too long ago. If you can follow this up top here, we've got a balloon at the top of our studio because one of these helium things got stuck and ended up there. Luckily, it wasn't a bird, though. Now, there is a situation developing in Kansas City right now because of a bird. Take a look at this video. There was a macaw just heading up to the lights there in Kansas City. There are pictures of this bird. Took hours. The Kansas City Zoo had to come out and get that bird out. Mark is here. He hosts a show at WDAF in Kansas City. Mark, good news is the bird is okay. You guys have you've survived Birdgate 2020.
The bird is okay, thank goodness. It was about 8:25 when the Kansas City Zoo, they come out once a month and do a Zoo to You segment here on our morning show, and they're right here in our studio every day, and they bring a different animal on and kind of promote the zoo. Well, they brought this ruby red macaw named Loco, all right? Now, that ought to tell you something right now. The bird's name's Loco. Secondly, they brag in the interview, live interview, that the bird is fully flyable, I think was the term they used, that they take it to shows and it flies around, but no problem, it's all good. A little backstory, about 3 months ago, they brought a penguin on, and it got loose and got behind the sets, and it took us an hour to coax the penguin out. Finally had to use some smelly fish to get it out. So anyway, they bring this bird on, and everything's fine during the segment. You know, it eats a walnut, everything's good. We get into a commercial break, and next thing you know, the bird's flying from where I am right now at this interview set all the way up to those rafters over the main news set you see right there, up to the rafters, and it stayed there, well, for an hour. And during the commercial breaks, they would come out, they would try to get it down. We have a ladder here in the studio. They tried to get it down through that. So anyway, we got two people in our studio from the Kansas City Zoo. They had to get on the phone, call backup from the zoo, get the main aviary guy over. He brings some backup crew. They bring nets. They bring sticks. They bring poles. They all come in, and we have to wait till the end of the show. So now we're an hour and a half into the show with this bird above our head, not knowing if it's going to poop on us or not. Thank goodness it did not.
Mark, you got a little white right here, though.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I think that's dandruff. Hold on.
Oh, well.
I don't know. Anyway, so the bird did not poop on us, although, no, that's just gray hair. So anyway, we have to wait till we turn out the lights because we also have up above us, I'm going to I won't turn the camera around, but I'll show you. Up above us is our newsroom. We're on the bottom floor, and up above we just opened up this area where you can see down into the studio, and those are all, that's glass up there. So the bird's thinking, hey, if I get up there, I can sit up there for a while and maybe get free. Well, he did not get free, and after the show was over, we dimmed all the lights and we set up one big light over here at the interview area, okay? And it took some more coaxing. We used grapes, we used walnuts. Finally, they brought in the big nets, and the bird was running everywhere, squawking like crazy. I went off of Facebook Live then because I didn't want to show you exactly what happened. They're very as gentle as possible, but the sound that bird made, I've never heard. Well, I heard that sound once late when I came in late one Saturday night for my wife. But other than that, I've never heard that sound before.
Mark, what is it about animals that just tend to run away from you guys there in KC?
I don't know. I think the word has gotten out at the Kansas City Zoo that, hey, you need to get on the Zoo to You segment, and if you get there to Fox 4, you can run free.
Yeah.
So I hear next week they may be bringing in a white rhino. I don't know. But I hope it doesn't get free.
I tell you what, make sure it's all on your website live because I think you'll get a lot of clicks there. That's what they call in this business clickbait.
Clickbait. Be sure to go to Mark Alford KC. That's MarkAlford KC. You can see all the Facebook Lives, how they finally captured. We got the final moments of putting Loco back in the cage.
Well, what a Loco morning for you, Mark. Appreciate you taking the time here on Newsfeed Now.
We'll see ya.
All right, Mark. Appreciate it. Ah, man, that's wild. I was watching some of that. It's Fascinating to think about. I've never had more than a balloon. There is a balloon up there. A cat almost got loose once in our studio. Never had a bird or a penguin get loose. That'd be scary. An investigation is underway after a video went viral on Facebook of an Arkansas student resource officer appearing to have a student in a chokehold. Gabrielle Pfeiffer spoke with the student and his family and even has some police sound.
Zakarian Ellis and his family says this is not how they expected their morning to go. This viral video of an altercation between an officer and Ellis has now reached more than 13,000 people. It shows Officer Jake Perry appearing to have Ellis in a chokehold.
I fear for my life. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Ellis is a 9th grade student at Camden Fairview High School. He says it all started when he and another student got into an argument.
He hit me. I had pushed him. Then he pushed me. Then I had pushed him harder to like where he fell on the ground. And that's when the kids started grabbing me and him.
After that, Ellis said that's where things got out of control.
Then a police officer pushed the kids off of me and he grabbed me and had started choking me and putting me on the glass.
In the video, Officer Perry lifts Ellis off the ground while his hands are around Ellis's neck for at least 12 seconds.
Another second or two, he'd have been dead. And I didn't want to go bury my grandson.
Camden Police Chief Bo Woody said Officer Perry has been with the department for a little over 2 years and has never been in any trouble. According to the family, though, and others in the community, Perry has a history of this kind of behavior.
I've got inboxes from people that don't know me, but they knew the officer that was in the video. And one word they described with him was a bully.
The family said the officer could have handled this in a completely different manner.
He should have put his hand behind his back. That would have been the appropriate way to handle the situation.
The family says they want the officer fired and they want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Reporting in Camden, Gabrielle Pfeiffer, NBC 10, your local news leader.
Gabrielle now joins us from El Dorado, Arkansas. Gabrielle, obviously a scary situation here. What else did police say, and is there any disciplinary action for this resource officer?
Well, the Camden Police Chief, Bo Woody, is really still investigating. The only video that he had seen as of when we interviewed him yesterday was the footage that was seen on Facebook. He has to get the body cam footage from the officer as well as the video footage from the school to really try to piece together, you know, what exactly happened prior to what was shown in the video. He was placed on paid leave. Chief Woody said that he hopes to have a decision at least by the end of the week for sure.
Did the police department say that from the video itself there was something in fact wrong with what he did?
Yes.
Okay.
He did say that it was excessive, but that's what it appeared, you know, is what he said. And he wants to just be able to look at all the angles before he makes, you know, I guess a really decision. Like at this point, he says everything is kind of speculation is what he said.
What was going on before this happened?
I spoke with a student yesterday, and apparently there was an argument between him and another student. So the other student punched him in the mouth, and then that's when he pushed the other student. The other student pushed him, and then he pushed the student back, and he fell on the floor. So just, you know, kind of speaking with a couple of students, apparently the students had already stepped in to break up that argument.
So there was a fight going on then?
It was a fight.
Yeah.
Probably in the making. But like I said, according to students, they had actually intervened. So I think, you know, once the students intervened, at that point it was kind of over. And that's when apparently the police officer, you know, came in, grabbed the student and put him against the wall.
But according to the school district, whether that fight was over according to students or not, there still needs to be someone in authority, I'm assuming, that needs to get involved to make sure everything is civil, correct?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
Gabrielle?
I just think the question right now at hand is, you know, the actions that he took in order to intervene in that situation.
Look, a chokehold on a ninth grader is something that is going to be excessive each and every time, I would assume, especially for a resource officer. Gabrielle, thank you so much. Still a lot of things going to have to come out of this one, though. A lot of issues, the reasons why. All of that's going to have to be combed through, but still an interesting story that is definitely gaining some traction on social media. Over to Oklahoma. A man is using his skills to help the working homeless. Ryan Laughlin worked in the RV industry, and he knows how to take a beaten up old camper and turn it into a nice little place. Lately, Ryan has been giving his projects to those who desperately need a helping hand. Here's Emily Akins.
Ryan Laughlin grew up fixing cars, building stuff.
I just use what I've got and put it together.
He's handy.
It was all rotted out underneath these windows, so I had to tear everything out on the lower end down there.
His latest project inspired by a friend. Chris Butts was homeless, living out of his Volkswagen Beetle with his dog.
Desperation, depression, there's a lot of things that go on in your mind.
Chris has a job, but not much hope of getting ahead until he met Ryan.
For once, you get the feeling that light at the end of the tunnel is not a train about to run you over.
Ryan buys old campers, RVs, and mobile homes.
All of them are, a little rough, but they're not awful.
He fixes them up and makes them safe for the working homeless.
Sometimes people just need that little hand, that step, and it's just, I don't know, it's really started to just turn my heart to want to help these people.
People just like Chris, who need a temporary place to live while they save enough money to get a place of their own.
It takes the cold and turns it into, I think, a ray of sunshine.
It's not the most glamorous gig.
And they have everything from plumbing to electrical, framing, you name it, it's all there. So it's a lot of work, and that's basically all we do.
But after seeing how it helped this one person,
they need it so badly, and you can see just the relief.
He was hooked.
If someone is willing to work to get out from underneath where they are, it can be the ticket. It can be the thing that actually changes somebody's life. And that's just, it's a godsend, it's a blessing.
Chris grabbed the hand up extended by his friend. He saved while living rent-free, and now he has his own apartment. And he's hoping to inspire another Oklahoman with his same story.
Very cool story there. All right, let's go live now to Oklahoma City. Obviously, Emily, this is a story that is going to be quite inspiring for a lot of folks. What were people saying on social media accounts for your station on someone who is doing something so selfless and really becoming a light for those in the homeless community?
I think people were just amazed that, we had some people that were amazed that this idea hadn't even been thought of before. We got so much reaction from people that were actually reaching out to us, to other people at the station, just kind of asking how they could help. We actually had a lot of people that kind of had rundown campers that they were wanting to donate. So it just kind of almost blew up more than we even thought it would at that point.
Well, look, we all understand what homeless people are going through because we've seen them in big cities and small cities all across the United States. And it just makes sense to give them some walls, right? That's what this is all about.
Absolutely.
It's just giving them walls to make their own.
Absolutely. And one of the kind of reoccurring themes that we saw when we were interviewing Chris and Ryan is that all they need is just that step, just that baby step. And one thing he did mention too is he was focusing on the working homeless, which I found really interesting, people that do have jobs that just find themselves in that situation. So the idea is that it is people that are working, wanting to get out of that situation. All they need is just four walls to kind of find a place to sleep, eat, shower. That way they can be prepared for whatever the next day at least brings for them.
Yeah, they don't need a handout. They need to step up. And I think that's the important concept here in your story is giving these guys an opportunity to step up to that next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it was also just kind of, I felt like honored to be interviewing them.
Yeah.
Even Chris, who had been homeless before, he told us, I raised 5 kids. It wasn't something I ever thought would happen to me. And he said, there's more people out there like that than anybody even realizes. Everybody who's homeless, didn't necessarily think they would find themselves there. It wasn't some tragic thing that happened to them. They just kind of ended up there. So I found that really interesting as well, as he's like, it's not just this tragic thing that happened. Sometimes we just find ourselves in the situation.
Emily, thanks. Appreciate you taking the time here on Newsfeed Now. We're only heading into the second primary of what will no doubt be a very long election campaign season. 2020 November is going to be racing at us. Super Tuesday right around the corner. But things are already getting crazy. From John Wayne-inspired results to vice presidential dogs and ministers of ice cream. What can we expect next? Here's Ginny Mose.
We're not sure if Joe Biden won over the polar bear demo, but he did shake the bear's paw and seemed to touch his nose. And that's not even the wackiest Joe Biden campaign moment. This is when a student asked about his poor showing in Iowa. He jokingly bantered,
"You ever been to a caucus?" "No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier."
Lying dog-faced what? It was a joke insult unknown in these parts, any parts. A 1953 John Wayne movie called
Hondo
was cited as the origin.
And on top of that, you smell all over like a woman.
Or maybe it was this other John Wayne movie.
The dog-faced soldiers.
Does Joe relate to Hondo, the most exciting man you'll ever meet? Speaking of dogs, someone asked Elizabeth Warren if she ever pondered,
who is going to be my Mike Pence? Who is going to look at me with adoring eyes?
I already have a dog.
Yeah, right.
Though Bailey, famous for posing for selfies, is also known for sleeping while his owner speaks, something President Trump would never let his VP do. It's unlikely the Democratic contenders would swear like the president.
Bullshit.
Okay, BS may be too much for the Democrats, but as the race tightens, they are loosening their tongues.
I would have been so damn angry, I don't know what I would have done.
No matter who wins this damn thing.
I'll be damned if I'm going to stand by and lose this election to this man.
But with Tom Steyer, the dams broke.
So many darn times.
So many darn times we've seen Joe Biden licking ice cream. He told reporters it's never too cold for ice cream or too dark for sunglasses. But his rival Bernie Sanders may be eyeing one of his campaign co-chairmen for a cabinet post. That would be Ben Cohen of Ben & Jerry's.
He's going to be the minister of ice cream when we win.
At least we can all look at ice cream the way that Pence looks at Trump. Ginny Mose, CNN, New York.
Is it just me or do the guy from Ben & Jerry's look a lot like Bernie Sanders? Like a lot. That's some darn crazy stuff there, I'll tell you what. All right, 11:17 on this Tuesday. Have a fantastic afternoon. We'll see you back here. Also, don't forget Valentine's Day, just a few days away. Make sure you get your, maybe your daughter something really nice, or your wife or your husband. Spend some time. Go Valentine's Day shopping.